So you're doing the Address Adult Language Literacy and Numeracy Skills unit. Perhaps you're doing it as a standalone or you're doing it as part of the full Cert 4 in Training and Assessment. In any case, you're going to come across this requirement, customizing and using at least 2 learning resources to address LLN requirements. That wording is straight from the unit, so no matter where or how you're doing the Cert 4 with the LLN unit, you're going to be asked to do this job of customizing some learning resources. Why would you do that? Well, depending on what study you read, we know that we're looking at possibly half the Australian population struggling with language literacy and numeracy skills. And one of the ways that we can support them is by adjusting the learning resources that we might ordinarily use for someone who doesn't struggle with language literacy and numeracy skills. So I wanted to share with you a simple example of how you might do this, just to illustrate that it's not an overly difficult task to complete. Now, you need to take into account who your learners are and what their needs are, and of course what the nature of the program is that you're delivering, the content, and how you might change that. But here's a really simple example that I thought might help you understand that the changes or the customization that you do doesn't need to be overly complex or dramatic. It's not the wholesale rewrite of an entire textbook. It's simple. Let's say, for example, we had a handout on mixing concrete. It's fairly simple language, but it's quite wordy and there's no visuals there. So perhaps a customization could be made to this. And thank you to Cement, Concrete and Aggregates Australia for me being able to use this part of their documentation. You can see the same text here, but it's been laid out in a much simpler format with lots of keywords isolated, different font sizes, and of course some really nice visuals there, simple drawings, cartoons, colors and graphs to help illustrate the same stuff that the text was saying, but in a more visual way. That can really help someone with minor literacy issues. You could possibly even take this a step further. So maybe you started out with a simple handout like this, but then you might even go as far as to use simple household measuring objects, water, gravel, perhaps that's flour there, and create a simple, safe, low-cost demonstration to help students understand the mixing ratios of concrete. And they can work together to try these things out. It's safe. You're not using real building materials, maybe using cordial. And these are simple and visual ways. And this is another example of customizing a learning resource to support LLN needs. If you do something like this, taking a few photographs or a short video is a perfectly valid way to demonstrate that you've customized a learning resource. So here are some other ideas to get you thinking. Perhaps you start out with a text handout like what I showed you in the beginning there. You might turn that into an explainer video. We all have these devices at our fingertips now, phones. It's very, very easy to create videos that can help our students. You might even do something as simple as changing font sizes, adding simple diagrams, visual demonstrations, just like in the example with the cordial or the gravel. There are text-to-speech apps that are free. Google Docs, for example, can do it. Voice-to-text, where you speak and it puts out text. Using that for a student to demonstrate their understanding and put it into writing. Audio recording, so perhaps you could create a simple audio recording of you reading out the text. Even something as simple as drawing a diagram on a whiteboard to support a handout is a perfectly valid form of customizing a learning resource to support LLN needs. So it's not a huge endeavor, it's quite simple, and I wish you all the best with the task. Good luck.